Hello guys, my name is Clever PC. So in this video, let's talk about how one can improve their IELTS writing, especially in task 2. So let's first go through this sample essay which my student sent me. So let's first read together on how we can improve that introduction of ours. So without further ado, let's get started. Countries, a small number of people earn extremely high salaries. Some people believe that this is a good thing for the country, but others think that governments should not allow salaries above a certain level. Discuss both views and give your opinion. So guys, let's first go through the 4 writing task to band descriptors. That's task achievement, coherence and cohesion, lexical resource, and grammatical range and accuracy. So under task achievement, we have to answer all parts of the question, both the questions and the instructions. They usually tell you to write more than 250 words. So when we come to this question, if we are to write our introduction, are we really answering every part of the question? Yes. So when it comes to the next band descriptor, which is coherence and cohesion, coherence, are we separating those paragraphs and being logical in our essay? So when we move on to the next band descriptor, which is lexical resource, are we paraphrasing or using lots of synonyms and having a wide range of topic related vocabulary? We are all going to check in this essay, and then we shall improve it to a band 9. Lastly, we have grammatical range and accuracy. So are we giving a wide range of sentence structures, ranging from complex sentences, simple? So here our student said, few people in many countries are paid very well. Some of them believe it's a good thing, and others believe such high salaries should not be allowed. And this was his introduction. So guys, this introduction alone does not fully answer the band descriptor of task achievement and lexical resource. Here the candidate says few people in many countries are paid very well. It's as though he's repeating the same questions of the examiner, and then they go ahead and say some of them believe it's a good thing and others believe such high salaries should not be allowed. Really, were they saying such salaries should not be allowed, or there should be a maximum, or even a cap of their salaries? So it doesn't really answer the question so well, and they go ahead and repeat themselves by saying believe, I believe. So let's first go through our band 9 introduction. Said people have different views about whether governments should introduce a maximum wage. While in some ways it may seem reasonable to allow people to earn as much as companies are willing to pay, I personally believe that employee remuneration should be capped at a certain level. So this student answered all parts of the question. Remember, the question was discuss both views and then go ahead and give your opinion. When we go back to the one who got a band 5.5, they actually never gave their opinion right away in the introduction, so thereby lowering their score right away from the introduction. So you have to be really careful with this. Whatever you're answering, is it really answering the 4 band descriptors? So here, when we go under task achievement, they were able to answer all of the 3 parts of the question. And then when we go ahead to the lexical resource, they were able to paraphrase their sentences. Instead of saying that salaries should be below a certain level, this candidate went ahead and said governments should introduce a maximum wage, so thereby really scoring well when it comes to lexical resource. When it comes to other band descriptors like coherence and cohesion. When we look at coherence, just this part alone was coherent in accordance to the question. Yes, and when it comes to cohesion, this can't use some cohesive devices like while, and yet the other candidate of 5.5 never used them. So without further ado, let's go ahead onto the second paragraph. With candidates who attained 5.5 in body paragraph 1, they said, people who think it's a good thing for paying people well because some people's talents can be boosted, i.e. Google in California employs coders from a far country, India, and pays them so well. This gives them morale and business goes up. More taxes will be got for the country. There's something wrong with this essay simply because the language used is not academic, and yet you have to write in an academic way when it comes to task 2, both in IELTS general and IELTS academic. This is required when it comes to task 2. So there are quite a number of mistakes this candidate was making. For instance, they went and said, people who think it's a good thing, is that really academic? And then they used like IE. Why don't you use for example, for instance, case in point? And then they went ahead and said, and business goes up. That's not academic, So let's first correct while using the same idea this candidate used. Remember, in IELTS writing, we never mark your ideas. Rather, we mark the way you write your English. Is it really academic? So let's first go through the band 9 body paragraph 1. There are various reasons why it might be considered beneficial to allow people to be paid extremely high salaries. If companies offer excellent pay packages, they can attract the most talented people in their fields. For example, technology companies like Google are able to employ the best programmers because of the huge sums that they are willing to pay. Furthermore, these well-paid employees are likely to be highly motivated to work hard and therefore drive their businesses successfully. In theory, this should result in a thriving economy and increased tax revenues, which means that paying high salaries benefits everyone. So guys, when we look through this answer, this candidate use some formula which is PL, and I always talk about this formula which is point. You go ahead and you give your example or explanation, and then you give the effect, and lastly you link it up with the main point of this paragraph. So this will allow you to fully extend your answer. When compared to the one of 5.5, the candidate never really extended their ideas. However, in band 9, you expected to fully extend those ideas. Don't just change the ideas, but rather extend them, try to explain, give examples, and then give the effects of that idea. So even when we go ahead and then we mark just this paragraph in comparison to the band descriptors, or according to the band descriptors, this candidate really scores well simply because they were able to really extend, use a number of cohesive devices. I saw like things like, for example, furthermore. There are various reasons why it might be considered beneficial. The whole of English was academic, and there were quite a number of topic-related vocabulary. For example, like excellent pay packages. We had thriving economy, increasing tax revenues. So all these are really going to boost your band score. So you basically improve this by reading a number of essays, a number of band 9 essays, and also as well as seeing how these essays were really improved to a band 9. So now let's move on to body paragraph 2. The candidate of band 5.5, for which essay we want to improve, said, on the other hand, others think that these salaries should be reduced in order it will feels fair, because even poor people will at least, I think they meant at least, feel comfortable in that their salaries is not far from those rich ones, therefore better standards of living. I think it's a good thing like this. Again, this candidate was not so academic, and as and they also never extended their answers fully. So I decided to really correct this section by a band 9 when they said, however, I agree with those who argue that there should be a maximum wage. By introducing a limit on earnings, the pay gap between bosses and employees can be reduced. Currently, the difference between normal and top salaries is huge, and this can demotivate workers who feel that the situation is unfair. With lower executive salaries, it might become feasible to introduce higher minimum wages, and everybody will be better off. One possible consequence of greater equality could be that poverty and crime rates fall, because the general population will experience an improved standard of living. The person started the paragraph by saying, however, meaning there was a twist in contrast to the body paragraph 1. And then they went ahead and said, I agree with those who argue that there should be a maximum wage. So they were literally giving their opinion right away, as well as going ahead and describing the points of those who argue that there should be a maximum salary or wage. So and then they went ahead and described their essay. They went ahead and said one possible consequence. So all this, they were really fulfilling the band descriptors. Let's first finish with the conclusion. So the one of band 5.5 said, all in all, it's better to environment that all salaries be the same and not so people earning a lot. So there were kind of some mistakes, because they said all in all, which is very informal. They would have said in conclusion, or to reiterate, to conclude. So it's good that that's not English. So let's first go ahead with and see the band 9 conclusion. In conclusion, it seems to me that it would be better on balance for governments to set a limit on the wages of the highest earners in society. So literally, this answer alone, the candidate goes ahead and gives their opinion. It seems to me, well, when we retrieve back to the body paragraph 2, they said, I agree. So they're literally giving a wide range of vocabulary. It doesn't need to be complicated.
And there you have it, guys. That's the band 9 essay. Try to pause and read, and then you revise how the points have been corrected. Thank you so much for watching.